Okay, welcome to the tutorial of the deck divination trick. Now, what is done here, now you notice we've had the spectator examine the cards and they were able to shuffle them, but there was actually a little bit of a preparation involved, and that's where these cases come in. So what we've done is we have 6 cards that we're going to force on the spectator, and these are the precise 6 cards we're going to use. It's important that we use these specific cards: the Queen of Diamonds, the Nine of Diamonds, the Seven of Spades, the Jack of Hearts, the Ten of Spades, and the Ace of Clubs, all exactly in that order, so that the Ace of Clubs is the last card facing up in the packet. And then we simply have these ready in their cases, face up, just like that, and just like the red cards, they're the exact same, and they sit face up in their respective case, just like that. Now, also, because we're missing 6 cards in the packets are a little bit noticeably lighter, and so to alleviate that a bit, to help sort of hide that, we make sure to add the jokers to the pack, so that it just makes the pack just a little thicker, so it's not as noticeable. And then once you've got the jokers, the cards set up in the cases, careful not to reveal the cards in the cases, of course, you're then ready for the trick, and you can then have the spectator examine the cards and shuffle them as much as they like. Whoops. And once they've shuffled them, you can just as quickly as you can, without looking too suspicious that you're trying to hide some cards in the case. You just quickly set them into the case as smooth as possible, better than I can do. And once you've done that, you just set the case on the table, and again, you're setting it so that the cards are readied on the top of the deck, and then we have the cases ready to go after they've shuffled them. Now, you then explain that you want them in the cases, just as an excuse to put them back in the boxes, because you want them to memorize a card from one of the packets, and that way we can leave the other deck secured in the box, so that there's no way the magician can tamper with them in any way while the spectator is choosing their memorized card in the other packet. So it's just sort of a little excuse to give you a reason for putting the decks in the cases. So anyways, now they can choose any case. It doesn't matter what case, because they're both set up exactly the same way. So you can tell them to choose what case they want to select their card from, and let's say they choose the blue box. So what you do is you get them to just deal the cards face down onto the table, and to just keep dealing as many cards as they like, and make sure that they deal at least 6 cards. You don't have to say 6 cards. Just make sure that they deal that many. You could even actually take the deck and deal the first 6 cards yourself to show as an example of how to deal the cards, just to keep dealing, and then hand them the rest of the deck to tell them to continue dealing as many as they like, something like that, just to make sure that they deal the minimum of 6 cards, because your setup cards are going to be the first cards to be dealt off onto the table. So once they've done that, they can then deal 6 piles, and no matter how many cards they deal, when they deal the 6 piles, just like so, the top cards of each of the piles will be the 6 cards that you've set up in your case. So the spectator, of course, will think they have 6 random cards, but they won't know that you've set these up. So now they can memorize any one of these cards. Let's say they memorize the Ace of Clubs. So you get them to immediately shuffle the cards after they've thought of their card, and then we go to the next deck, and the cards are now set up. Now you'll notice that the cards, of course, are sitting on the top, and you won't be able to spell to the thought of card yet. But this is where it's important that you give a demonstration of what they're going to do to spell to their card. This is this way you can reverse the cards so that the cards will be set up exactly in their proper positions. That's why it's important that they're set up in this specific order with the Queen of Diamonds on top. So what you do is you're going to use the 8 of Diamonds as the example card, because it's the same amount of letters as the Queen of Diamonds, both 15 letters. And you use the 8 of Diamonds again because it's not a card that appeared in their group of 6 cards, so it won't seem suspicious. Because if you say the Queen of Diamonds, of course, then they'll begin to wonder if you've already known about their cards. So you say, okay, let's, as an example, you thought of the 8 of Diamonds. So then you say, now what you're going to do is you're going to spell the value 8, E-I-G-H-T, and then you're going to spell of, O-F, and you're going to do this silently, and make sure you mention that, and also mention that they're going to spell their suit in plural form. So diamonds as the example, so you go D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S. And now you have all 15 cards dealt out and reversed, so that when you place them back on top of the deck, it's now ready for the spelling part of the trick. Now, one thing I left out in the performance, which is a good thing you might want to do, is do some sort of false cut after this, just to sort of, further mess up the deck a little bit so that there's no suspicion there either. So you could just do, I just do a little 3-way false cut. You could do, I'm sure, a better one, but do whatever before you hand them back the deck, and then that way it just seems like a reset deck that's hasn't been tampered with in any way. So they take the cards, and now they're ready to spell out their thought of card. Now in this case, we thought of the Ace of Clubs, so we spell out, and again the spectator does this silently, A-C-E, and then they spell out of, O-F, and then C-L-U-B-S. Now, before you reveal the card, what you do is you secretly count the cards that they're spelling silently, and you memorize what cards are representative by their amount of letters. So in this case, Ace of Clubs has 10 letters, so you know that if they deal 10 cards, that the card left dealt will be the Ace of Clubs. So before you reveal it, you can play a little mentalism with them and just, say, okay, now before we look at the card, I just want to see if I can pick up on the card you thought of. And you can mention that you're getting that it's a black card, it's definitely a club, I see it's the Ace of Clubs, and then boom, they'll be totally blown away that you picked up on their thought of card. And then you say, okay, now let's look at the card you arrived at, and then there's the double kicker, they see their card at the very spot that they spelled at. So it really adds to the effect, I think. So anyways, I have to thank again Miss Meg 822 and Freddy K83 for their input in this trick. They've helped out improve this effect, like with the mentalism part of it, and adding the jokers to make the decks not look so light, and just general presentations, of having an excuse for using the card cases too, so it doesn't seem as suspicious for using these. So just little things like that really help the effect. So I appreciate that input. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.